The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Hi everyone, it's good to be back again. Today's Friday the 25th of September. Let's talk money 2020. I had some interesting experiences this week, and I want to share a few of them with you. But let me just get right into it because it's Friday and I don't want to take up too much of your time. I talked last week about divorce and the economic effects it has on the family, the individuals. So I wanted to really have a similar topic this week because wouldn't you know, right the day after I had that talk last week, I had an interesting experience. I'll get to it in a minute. But it's along the same lines that we have to use our reason, our judgment before we react, because when we react to things without really thinking about what we're doing, it costs us money in the long term. And what I like to do is I like to focus on the economic impact of what we do. As you know, I'm a CPA. I've been in business for a long time. I've seen a lot of things with clients. I've experienced a lot of things myself. So there's an economic impact in almost everything that we do. So, I'd like to really talk about how our actions really affect our money. So let me just continue here. As I said, after prior experiences and everything, dealing with clients, we see a number of things. But today I'm going to really talk about something personally that happened to me. So let me get right into it. So, I had an experience at the Wegmans in Gambrels, Maryland. And this is if you're not familiar with Prince George's County and Arundel County, there's a Wegmans in Prince George's County, which I live in Prince George's County. And then there's a Gambrels. And most people that, and I talk to, they say they like to go to the one in Gambrels because they have more stuff. But I think that's code for other things that they're saying. But I had no problem always going to the one right in my county. So I went over there not because it has more stuff, but my daughter gets her hair done over that area. So I was there just waiting. So I thought I'd kill some time going to the Wegmans, and they have this seating area right next to the store. So, you go in there and you get your coffee, you get your food and everything. You go in, you sit and you eat. Well, while I was sitting there, some guy walks up to me. I'm not going to turn this into a racial thing, but you know how it is. It's the person of the opposite race, right? Well, they weren't black, put it that way. And they walked over to me, and the first thing they said was, "Didn't you read the sign?" Right? And this is not the first time somebody said something really awkward to me like that. One time I was dealing with someone, and I got to admit, he was an older white guy, and he goes to me and he says, "Can't you read?" Not this time, but someone told me that in the past. But the guy just walks over to me and says, "Didn't you see the sign?" Okay, well, first of all, if someone walks over to you and starts a conversation, "Didn't you see the sign?" in the manner in which he said, you know that there is a level of ignorance that that person has, and you don't want to go to that level, right? Because if he had just came to me in a polite way, then I can take his message a little better. But I'm actually taking the time to really go through this because there was a time in my life, and at times in many people's lives, that if someone who said something that awkward to you, you escalate the conversation to a point where It can be seen as you're breaking the rules, or it can be seen that you're offending somebody, or it can be seen as a lot of things, and you know, a lot of things can happen because of that. You know, police can get involved. You know, I could get arrested, or somebody else can get arrested, whatever. But it didn't have to go down that way. And the guy actually, you know, he kept coming back to where I was seated. Now I had a coffee in my hand. I just bought some coffee from Wegmans, and again, it's the one in Gambrels, Maryland. I'm not trying to, like really downplay the store or anything, but I'm just letting you know. So I purchased the coffee. The coffee's sitting there. I had a Wegmans cup, one that says Wegmans on it, and the guy says, "This area is for dining, and you can only sit here for 1 hour." Right. For one thing, when I looked out there on the signs a little bit later, the sign said nothing about 1 hour limitation. I was only there for about 5 minutes until, you know, when the guy came over. So, you know, I was thinking, okay, this conversation could have went completely south, and it could have some serious financial repercussions if it had continued in a downward spiral. But I looked at with his station in life. He was an older guy, you know, pushing a cart or whatever. I have nothing wrong. I have nothing against people who work in Wegmans, who push carts, stock shelves, anything like that. But, you know, the point is, God has blessed me with a certain statute in life, and I am not going to allow someone else's ignorance to actually allow me to actually come down to their level, and then it costs me. I'm just not going to allow that to happen. It took a long time to really get to that point in my life, but I'm just not going to allow everything that I built to be destroyed over somebody and their ignorance. So I want to talk about this just a little bit. So, you know, one thing I always have to keep in mind, that, you know, that we are blessed and we have great substance. You know, whether it's financial, whether it's wisdom, whether it's our families, you know, we have a lot to protect. We have a lot of assets, and when I say assets, I'm including our families in this, and this as well. And we have to be constantly aware, whether you like it or not. There are people that are envious of our success. So if I'm sitting there, you know, with my laptop, I'm not, you know, dressed in a sports outfit or whatever. I'm looking very business-like on a Saturday. Okay, I'm there to take care of business. You know, there was some outstanding stuff that I needed to take care of on my computer, and I did it. Now, why this gentleman came over to my table 3 times, they really just bugged me, I have no idea. But you can kind of, you know, put your own guess to it. But anyway, let me just keep on going. So, you know, I have to really think about this afterwards. And I said, hey, look, I have to organize my thoughts before I leave, why I'm at a place, and when I get there, when I leave or whatever, I have to always be on guard, and always have to have my mental, my mental protection always there. You know, I always have to think about what I have to lose by engaging in certain conversations. So I always have to think, protect my assets. And this is the key topic that we're going to talk about today. You know, you work too hard, you work too long to really blow it all away, or blow a portion of it away on someone's ignorance. That's my point that I want to get across today. I also want to think about, did I try to do everything that I possibly could have done to avoid a situation going south? Because, be honest with you, most situations out here are just not worth the time to be fighting for, right? I want to spend my energy and my time and my money on other things than just fighting over dumb stuff, right? So I don't want my actions to be driven by ego or emotion, because it costs me financially. And we talked about this last week. There are decisions that we make, they're based on ego and emotion. It's going to cost us in the long run, and it's just not worth it. I want to keep the money in my pocket for my family, for my children, to do things that we'll enjoy to do. And I'm not going to spend my money, wasting my money on legal fees, on police. I'm not going to waste my money on the stuff that would actually take away from the good things that I want to do with my family. So let's keep going here. Let's look at the type of what are the assets that I'm talking about that we need to protect. For one, my life, my freedom, my body, my mind, my spirit, my vision, my dreams, my goals. I'm always conscious of protecting those things, and I cannot let anybody in their emotion and how they're treating me, what they say, what they do. I cannot allow that to affect those things that I just mentioned. My children, my family. I have God's protections and I have his blessings, and I always got to be conscious of that. And I'm not going to allow you and your ignorance to take me to a place that I don't need to go. So I hope you're digging what I'm saying, and I hope you're protecting your assets. Do not allow these people or anybody. There are a lot of ignorant people going around now, and we don't have to get into the racial stuff and whatever. You know what I'm talking about. There are people that look like us that are ignorant as well. We cannot allow these people to actually take away our joy, take away our freedom, take away our families, take away everything that we built so hard for. We cannot allow that to happen. Look at your station in life. Look how God has blessed you, and look how God will continue to bless you. But don't fall for the trap. There are certain tangible assets that you need to protect as well. Your home, your money, and so forth. So let's just continue. All right, let's just remember, I always talk about the income statement. So I'm gonna show you what my income statement would have looked like the day if I would have really got ignorant, is just at the same level of this other person. If I had really gotten to that level, I'm going to show you what my income statement would have looked like that day, right? Because I'm a money man. I look at numbers. This is my life, right? So the earnings, my income earnings would have been zero. I'm just sitting there and I'm not earning any money. I'm sitting there doing some work, and I would not have earned any money that day. It would have cost me 1 to 12 weeks of my earnings, because it depends on the severity of where it would have gone. I don't know whether it would have gotten physical. I don't know what would have happened. The police came. They would arrest me. They would have said, okay, this guy's black. He ain't supposed to be here. Blah, 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 blah. Let's do this to him. Let's do that to him. Hey, we live in a world today where any of this stuff could have happened. Just a guy sitting there drinking coffee. It could have led to almost anything. Remember the guys in Starbucks? They were sitting there in Starbucks. Well, the same deal. I'm sitting there with my coffee, right? And someone walks up to me and he keeps badgering me over and over and over. Look, it happens. So it could have cost me, I'm just giving a good estimate here, 1 to 12 weeks of my earnings. That could have been $2,000 to $50,000. I'm just bringing up some numbers here, right? All right. So what about the legal fees? $10,000 of legal fees. Late fees on bills and something. I can't pay bills if I'm in jail, right? So at the wasted time, unlimited amount of money. A lost time in court, unlimited amount of money that I'm losing. So minimum, I would have lost $22,000 just for a minute conversation and a confrontation that would have lasted a quick 30 seconds, and it would have cost me so much in the end. So there's a financial aspect to everything that we do, and we have to think in those terms. How do I protect my assets, and what is this going to cost me? Run the income statement in your mind before you start to do something that's emotional and based on ego, when you can easily just diffuse the situation and just go on about your business. Look, if they had just said, look, I gotta leave, I have to leave Wegmans because I'm not supposed to be drinking their coffee. You know what I'm going to say? I'm not going to sit there and say I have a right to do this and blah, 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 blah. Fine. Take my coffee, or I might just leave my coffee and say, here, you take it. I'm done with it. Throw it in the trash. Walk away. Okay? That's not a battle that I'm trying to fight, right? I'm just not trying to be the hero, the guy who wants to sit there in Wegmans. I mean, I'm just not that. I got other things I'm trying to do. I got other things in my life I'm trying to build. I don't want to fight that fight. So, my money and time spent, that does not benefit me. If I spend my money, if I spend my time, and it's not benefiting me or my family, it's a transfer of wealth. It's a transfer of wealth from me to somebody else, whether it's the legal system or somebody else. If that money, any dollar I spend, if it doesn't come back to me and my family and benefit us, or my community in a certain way, then it's a transfer of wealth. It's money. This wealth. I'm actually losing. So that's the way I look at my money. If I don't keep it, it's helping someone else, and it's a transfer of wealth from me to someone else, and that's not what I want. But the key thing I want you to really, really, I guess, walk with me on this is, if you do if these things kind of happen to you over and over and over, these type of small incidents happen to you over, and they could happen a lot of times in your life. I'm a black male and I'm real. This kind of stuff happens over and over and over. But if you allow this stuff to go south on you, it adds up, and it's going to equal a financial disaster. So, in this case, I said the estimate is $12K. It could have been a $10K incident, a $5K, a $7K. But if you look at the span of your life and the crap that you got to go through over the span of your life, this stuff adds up, and it erodes our wealth. It takes away our spending power. It takes away our investing power. So we got to get to a point where we don't allow ourselves to become emotionally charged over these people and their ignorance, and because that's what it is. We have to realize that it's ignorance at some point. It's incompetence at some point. Look, these people have been through Black History Month. They've been through all kinds of stuff. If you live in this country and you don't understand what's going on in this country as far as the racial stuff that's going on in this country, then you're living in a state of ignorance, and then you're living in a state of incompetence. And that's what it is. It's incompetence. And I cannot allow myself to be put on that level, right? So God is bringing us to a certain level, and we want to keep the blessings of God coming. So, look, if you look at it from a lifespan, we already start behind. Whether you're black, whether you're white and poor, whatever, whether you're Hispanic and poor, whatever, we already start behind. So we cannot allow these emotional outbursts. I don't want to turn this into a racial conversation, but you could be poor and white, you could be poor and Hispanic, you could be poor and black, you could be poor and Asian, whatever. But if you start poor, like most of us have, you're already starting behind the curve. So don't waste your wealth on a few minutes of emotional outbreaks. Just don't do it. If you're going to get emotional about things, if you're going to get upset where it could end up being a confrontation, a bad verbal confrontation, or a physical confrontation, look, we got to stop. We got to move on. Just go do something else. It's better to fight. It's better to fight a bigger battle than to fight these little skirmishes that cost us in our pockets. So, life is a struggle. Life is a struggle. I don't care what it is. There's a struggle for you to even get out of your house. You have to put on your clothes. You have to make sure you look good. You have to make sure that you bring what you're supposed to bring with you when you leave your house. Well, everything is a struggle in life. And we have to pick our struggles, pick our battles. But I'm not going to let ego, I don't want to play the game where I'm letting ego and emotions come across my freedom or be opposed to my freedom, my money, my dreams. I just don't want that to happen. All right. And I thought this would be a good message for all of us to learn from. And I hope that we will learn from this. So I'm going to take the calm way out. In most cases, in 99.9% of the cases, we can just take the calm way out. It won't cost us friendship. It won't cost us money if we just stay level-headed and say, look, this is not my fight. I'm going to move on. That leaves more money in your pockets, more money for your family. So that's my talk today. I wanted to keep it short. I didn't want to turn into a racial rampage. I'm not trying to do that. We're talking about money and maintaining your money in 2020. There are certain conversations that I have to have that, especially with people that look like me, black people, that our conversations about money has to start at a different level, right? We have to think about the things that really are affecting us as a community, and put those things in check, because those things have a lasting effect on us. And if we can repeatedly lose our cool, it affects our money. So when we talk about money, it's a different conversation than, someone who's wealthy, someone that's well-to-do, and some people who don't have the struggles that we have. We have specific struggles that we have to overcome, and emotion and our egos play a lot in those battles. So let's start there. Let's attack those demons inside of us and put them in check. Everybody has them. We have to put them in check because it will affect our money. So with that, I'm going to put a pin in it. We'll come back next week. We'll talk about some of the technical things that we usually talk about, but let's not forget some of the human things that we have to bring into the discussion of money. But anyway, have a good week. Stay blessed. I'll talk to you next week.